Street orchard. Forest street. This story is inspired by an old traditional tale that appears in many cultures. It was told informally during City of a Million Trees picnic workshops in Sparkhill Park and at Edgbaston Reservoir to invite new creative work. The first part of the recording is the story that was told, and the second part weaves together the different creative responses. Part 1. Once there was an old man who lived in a neighbourhood where the trees were few and far between. So one day he started to plant young trees, saplings, all along the street. Some were placed in big containers. Others were planted by the side of the road where the concrete paving slabs had fallen into disrepair. It was hard work. The next afternoon, some people stopped to watch and asked what he thought he was doing. And so he told them that he planted a street orchard, a forest street. And some people smiled, but others laughed at him. "What's the point? It'll take years before those trees are big enough to give fruit or offer you shade. You're not likely to get much benefit from all this hard work." But the old man smiled and leant on his shovel and explained that he wasn't planting the trees for himself, but for the next generation. And he looked at the children and he told them it was for the birds that were still in their eggs, for butterflies that were still hungry caterpillars, and for all the creatures that would one day take shelter under the branches or make their homes down at the roots. And then he looked back at the adults and finished. "These trees are not for me. They are for your children and their children. After all, we borrow the earth from those who are yet to be born." At the end of the story, people were asked, "What would you plant?" And so the second part of this tale is woven from those gathered words and ideas. Part 2. And the street orchard blossomed and bloomed, with cherry and elderberry, fig, apple, peach, pear and plum, sometimes sweet and sometimes sour, water, rain and sun. Breathe in, breathe out, trees to sit under on a hot summer's day, chatting and sipping tea with friends. And their voices mingled with the wind and the whisper of leaves on the trees, planting hope and possibility, planting hope and knowledge, planting hope and a place to live, planting. The children chanted as they watered and fed the trees. A conker tree, a climbing tree, a jumping in the autumn leaves tree, an abracadabra beautiful tree with so many leaves to hang over me. And the forest street grew, and one day the trees were big enough to climb. So that's what their children did, and their voices mingled with the wind and the whisper of leaves on the trees. What should we plant for the future?